In today's video, we are going to be talking about some best practices when it comes to working with a virtual assistant with Power Diary. If you are a therapist in private practice and you have been thinking about getting a virtual assistant, there are a lot of things that you need to consider before you kind of get to this point. However, in today's video, that is what we're going to concentrate on. So first of all, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kim. I help therapists get online, get confident with admin and reduce tech overwhelm. As I said before, there are a lot of things that you need to consider when you're thinking about hiring a virtual assistant for your private practice. And I'm going to be making lots more videos on this, so I will link to them in the description once they are created. So if you're watching this in the future, there may be a link in the description taking you to a playlist all about working with virtual assistants as a therapist in private practice. But for now, what I want to concentrate on are some best practices if you are in the process of hiring a virtual assistant or if you already have one, so that you can just make sure that you are doing these things. The first thing I will say is getting a virtual assistant that already knows the systems that you are using is really, really beneficial. We personally, as a business, only work with therapists who are willing to transfer over to the systems that I recommend and use for all of our clients. So those two systems are Google Workspace and Power Diary. Now, they are used for different clients. So if there is a therapist that has a new private practice or a smaller private practice, we will recommend that they start with Google Workspace and we set up all of their administration and practice management on that system. However, if we're working with a therapist who has a much busier practice, we will always recommend Power Diary. So we would do the setup for them and then we would work with them. But not all virtual assistants work that way, and sometimes you already have the system in place when you want to start working with a virtual assistant. So what I would suggest is, first of all, looking to see if there is somebody that you can work with that already understands the system, because that is going to mean that training them and the handover process is going to be a lot shorter and quicker for you. When you first start working with a virtual assistant, you want to make sure that that is communicated to your client. Some of your clients are going to have concerns that they want to raise with you, so you're going to have to think about all of the things that they could be concerned about and have an answer for them. They might be concerned about data protection, they might be concerned about your assistant knowing everything that is said in session. They might be concerned about what information that the assistant is going to have access to. So you're going to want to make sure that you verbally communicate that in session with your client, as well as letting them know in writing. I do think nowadays that most people are used to their therapist having an assistant. When they go to their doctors or their dentist or anything like that, there's usually a receptionist, so they are used to that. So you might not get as many concerns as you think, but it's really good to kind of have that in mind, that somebody may come to you with a concern and you just want to be able to reassure them. You also want to change your paperwork to make sure that you mention your assistant. An easy way to do this is to say we instead of I, and to also specifically let them know what the assistant is going to have access to within your paperwork as well. So for example, with regards to your invoicing process, you can say something like, you will be sent your invoice prior to your appointment by the assistant. Don't mention the assistant by name within your paperwork, because that person could change. So you don't want to have to update your paperwork each time you get a new assistant, which hopefully wouldn't be regularly, but it could happen. So you just want to say my assistant and we throughout the paperwork. With regards to Power Diary specifically, you are going to want to give your assistant their own login. So you want to make sure that they log into Power Diary using their login and not yours. And that means that you can set the security level, so you can decide what they are going to have access to. And it also means that there is a track of who did what. So if an appointment was cancelled, you can look back at the history and see who did that. So it's really important to kind of know, especially in the beginning stages of working with an assistant, who has done what, so that you can train more if needed, or you can have a conversation about it when you know who made the mistake. There are tons of tasks that you can give your virtual assistant, and I know that that can be really tricky at the beginning to kind of get those tasks handed over and trusting that person, and that does come over time. But I wanted to just list out some of the tasks that an assistant could do for you, which will save you so much time and free you up to see more clients, spend more time with your family, lots of other things. So some of the tasks that they can complete for you are client onboarding, all the client communication, booking appointments, dealing with any reschedules and cancelled appointments, dealing with medical insurance and invoicing, writing reports for psychiatrists and other professionals, dealing with the system management, so making sure that Power Diary is always up to date, making any changes to it, for example your email templates, or offboarding clients properly so that the data is always correct, and also dealing with any practice updates and letting your clients know about that too, such as holidays or training days, or if you are sick. So there are loads of things that a virtual assistant can do to help you, and using Power Diary makes all of that stuff so simple. Firstly, because you can set the system up the way you want it and then hand that over to your assistant completely done. So you've got all of your email templates, you've got all of your processes, and it's really easy for them to learn how to use the system because Power Diary has such great help guides and things like that. Another great thing about having Power Diary for your practice is that you can check at any time what's going on. You can view your calendar, you can have a look at communication between your VA and your clients, you can see if an appointment reminder has been sent out or an invoice has been sent out. So there are things that you can do, especially in the beginning, to kind of just check everything is ticking along as you would like it to. If you are thinking of starting with Power Diary, I do have my Power Diary setup course, which is now live, and I'll leave a link in the description for that. It is a really quick step-by-step guide to help you set up Power Diary for your private practice, which will make starting working with a VA super simple for you because you'll have everything set up and ready for them. If you already work with a VA, you can give your course to them and they can set it up for you. Like I said at the beginning of this video, there is a lot of things that go into working with a virtual assistant. If you have any questions for me about Power Diary or working with an assistant, please do leave a comment below and I'd love to answer them for you. But for now, thanks so much for watching.